everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all having a great day today. First of all, I just want to point out the obvious that I know my makeup in this video is completely different to the thumbnail, and that is simply because I've already created the thumbnail, went to edit the video, and basically my camera wasn't focused all the way throughout, so I obviously didn't want to post that video. So I decided to refilm it, and as you can see by the title, today's video is going to be all about my septum piercing. I decided to do this video because I get quite a lot of questions about it anyway, so I thought, do you know what? Let's just make a video and I'll cover some of the questions. So if you're interested about my septum piercing, or you're just nosy like me, then just keep watching. Okay, so first things first, I've had my septum piercing now for 2 years, maybe 3 years. I don't know, like 2.5 to 3 years I'm gonna say. So realistically, I can't remember everything like plain as day, but I feel like I have like kind of a lot of experience with my piercing, if that makes sense. It probably doesn't, but I can't really remember like the price of it. That's one thing I get asked a lot, is how much did it cost? And I'm pretty sure it was anywhere between like 20 and 30. 20 and 30 pounds is what I want to say. And I really don't think that that's that expensive. Like, you get in jewellery, which realistically, how much do you spend on a pair of earrings? And then obviously you get in a new piercing. So I really don't think that that's a bad price at all. And I remember like when I was looking for prices like at shops and whatever, like the higher the price was, the more like experienced the piercer was. So I didn't mind paying a little bit more because you kind of know you're in safe hands, if that makes sense. And I ended up going to the person who pierced my belly button, so I kind of knew I could trust him, if that makes sense. But when you are going to get any piercing, this is not just a septum piercing, but when you go to get any piercing, you need to do your research on the piercer, because they might look like legit, but if you go on their reviews online, they really could be like bad. And obviously you don't want someone who can't be trusted like doing your piercings, because then if it goes wrong and they're not willing to help you, and oh, no, just do your research. And when you go to get your piercing as well, they should make you like sign, I think it's called a waiver. It's like you giving your consent to have the piercing, and like that they've asked for ID and all things like that. I can't quite remember what was on it now, because obviously I had mine pierced so long ago and I've not had a piercing since my septum piercing actually, so I can't actually remember plain as day what was on it. But if they're not giving you a waiver to sign, just leave, go somewhere else, because they're not bothered about like the like legal side of it. So why would they be bothered about what happens to your face? Do you know what I mean? So just leave. Speaking of research, make sure that you don't just go and get, like, this is any piercing, but don't just go and get it on a whim. Make sure you actually want it, especially a piercing that's going to be on your face, or like a piercing that you really can't hide, because once you've got the piercing, even if you take it out, it's going to scar, and the scar might not be massive, it depends on what you get in, but I really would regret getting a piercing that I then didn't like and couldn't just get rid of like completely. So I did a lot of research when it came to my septum piercing. I actually watched a lot of YouTube videos, made sure that I really wanted it. It actually took me, like, I was on and off getting it for I think about 4 or 5 months. Like, it really did take me some time, because I didn't want to get it, because obviously it's on my face. I didn't want to get it and then not like it, and it's so obvious. Like, I really wanted to make sure that I wanted it. However, now I realise that if I didn't want this piercing, then it wouldn't have been that much of a problem, but I will get onto that a little bit later. But yeah, just make sure you do your research and make sure you actually want it. Just don't go and get it on a whim. That's like my biggest advice, I would say. Another question I get asked quite a lot, which is bizarre to me, is does it smell? Like, can you smell it? And honestly, no. I think there has been occasions that I remember, like when it was freshly pierced, I remember like being able to smell something, but I feel like that's because it was healing. If you clean it properly, it shouldn't really smell. Like, obviously when I like wash my face or whatever in the morning or at night, I just make sure to like turn the bar, because obviously you can move it around dead easy. I just make sure to turn the bar, make sure I'm getting, obviously once my hands are clean, but make sure I'm like cleaning the bar and just making sure there's nothing on it, because obviously it is in your nose. Yeah, I just make sure I clean it, and I don't ever really get a smell. But I do remember when it was pierced, I could definitely smell something like a funky kind of smell, but I feel like that's just because it was healing. Obviously there's gonna be something going on up there, but yeah, I don't really think it smells, no. But obviously if yours does smell, if you have a septum piercing, then I'm not necessarily saying that that's a bad thing, but personally mine just doesn't smell. So another question that I get asked quite a lot as well is changing the bar like difficult? And I can't really answer this. When I got mine pierced, I feel like you always get given a ball ring. Every person I know who's had it pierced has had a ball ring, but I'm not 100% sure. That might not be true, but I feel like you always get a ball ring, and I knew I wanted one. The only thing I'd like to change is like maybe change it to like a black ball ring or something. I don't know, just for something different. But I've actually never changed my piercing. I've never took it out. So truthfully, I can't answer that question. So truthfully, I don't know how easy or hard or difficult it is to change the piercing, so I can't really answer that. And then something else you also get asked a lot is like, is it hard to like live with, I suppose? And no, honestly, I've obviously had this for a fair few years, so I don't even realise it's there half of the time. A lot of people ask me like, is it hard to do your makeup without getting makeup on it? And no, it's really not, because it's so easy, especially with having the ball ring. I can flip it up, which is so easy. It actually looks a little bit weird, but you just kind of pull her face like, and then just kind of pop it up. That's kind of the only way I can explain it, and then it's gone. So if the place where you work, they don't allow piercings, it's so easy to hide, you wouldn't even know it was there, and you also don't have to take it out, so you haven't got to worry about it like healing or closing up. So yeah, it's really not that hard to live with, and when I do my makeup I do flip it up and do what I have to do. So no, the only thing I would say is when you do have it flipped up, please don't forget, because I've actually gone to like blow my nose before, and obviously the bar is up there, and it can be really like painful if you like pinch your nose with the bar in there. Not all the time, but if you catch it at like a funny angle, it can really hurt. So just remember it's up there. Make sure you're careful when it is up there, but for the most part, no, it's really not that hard to live with. The only thing is like, if you're thinking about getting a septum piercing and you're worried about what people are gonna say, you either got to have the piercing and just not listen to what people say, or don't get it, because people will say stuff all the time. A lot of the time now, I don't really get any people saying anything. Every now and again maybe, but for the most part no. A lot of the time people will just say the obvious, like, why would you do that to your face? You look like a ball, you look like a ball, you look like a ball. Yeah, okay, I get it. You think I look like a ball, that's fine. But for the most part I'm not bothered. It's my face, I like my piercing, I decided to get it. Shut up. That's how I see it basically. So if you're not bothered about what people are going to say, then I would say don't worry about it. But if you are one of the people that care about what people think, then I would probably say stay clear, because people say stuff quite often, to be fair. But yeah, I feel like living with it wise, it doesn't really have an effect. Yeah, it's really easy to live with, doesn't really cause any problems. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to the more important stuff. So first of all, the healing. Mine really didn't take that long to heal at all. I feel like when I got it pierced, it never really hurt at all afterwards. I never felt any pain with it. I feel like my nose is a little bit sore to touch for maybe like the first 2 days, and then I feel like after like a week, maybe 2, I remember it was so quick, but mine did not hurt at all after that. I could flip it up, I could move it around, didn't hurt when I touched my nose. Yeah, literally it was so quick, but obviously it will be different, it will vary from person to person, and it might depend on what bar you choose or the piercer, where it's pierced, because that is quite important as well, but I will get onto that later. So yeah, the healing side of it for me was so easy, and obviously where healing comes involved is cleaning it. Cleaning it really wasn't a problem at all either. Again, when I used to wash my face morning or night, I would make sure to just run clean water across the bar and clean it as like gently as I could. But I would also get, if you're in America, I think you call them Q-tips, but I just call them earbuds. So I would get those and I would dip them in like lukewarm salt water, and I would just clean like where the actual piercing is in the skin. I would just clean it like that, just to make sure that it was not going to get infected or anything. So yeah, healing and cleaning really wasn't difficult, and I never had anything go wrong, so I feel like I dealt with everything properly. So that's just how I cleaned it. Okay, and now I feel like this is the question that everybody wants to know the answer to, and did it hurt? Was it painful? Truthfully, no is my answer to that. So when I got my piercing, I was stood outside the shop with Kane for about half an hour to an hour, and that's not even an exaggeration. I remember that plain as day because I was so scared, because when I was doing my research like on YouTube, basically almost I would say 9 out of 10 people was saying it killed, like it really hurt. Eyes were streaming with water, nose was just pouring with like snot, like proper painful, wanted to cry, felt like they were gonna pass out. And when I basically went in, I was like literally shaking, like sat on the bed, like physically shaking. Kane was holding my hand, and the piercer was like, do you really want this? Like, you look petrified. And I was like, no, I just know it's painful. And he said, don't be stupid, this does not hurt. And that's when he explained to me that if you get it through the sweet spot, it shouldn't go through any bone. If it's gonna go through a bone, that's when it's gonna hurt. That is not pierced in the right place. It's supposed to go through, there's a tiny piece of skin, obviously where my piercing is, and basically it just pops through there. It's just skin. It literally, you can't, there was no pain. If I could rate it out of pain, from 1 being no pain and 10 being excruciating, I would rate it a 1 or a 0. It literally didn't hurt, and I'm quite squeamish when it comes to needles and things, so for me to say that mine really didn't hurt, but obviously it will vary from person to person. Some people might find it like painful for other reasons, but for the most part it shouldn't hurt. The only way I can explain the pain is basically they put a clamp on where the needle is going to go through, so they get you to pull like a face so they can put the clamp on, and then you relax afterwards. So you put the clamp on, and that honestly was the bit that hurt the most, not because it was painful, just because it was like pinching, and the longer it's there's like a lot of pressure, so it just was a little bit more like uncomfortable. That was actually the worst part. It just didn't feel nice, but it wasn't painful, it was just really uncomfortable, and like the longer it was there, it started to like, I don't know, like I would say hurt, but not really. So once the clamp's on, they then put the needle through, and basically this is the only thing that I felt. So when the needle went in, so obviously he just pops it straight through. It's so quick, literally done within like not even a second. The needle goes through instantly, and the needle went through, and the only thing I can remember feeling is like it was like a pop, like I felt like the sharp bit of the needle, like, so I felt like a sharp almost scratch and then a pop like instantly within a second. So it was like a scratch, pop, done. Like I felt it pop through the skin, and that was it. That was all I felt, and after that it was done. So then after that there's like a it's like left kind of hanging there sort of whilst he gets the bar to put through. Obviously I'm not 100% sure what he did, but I'm sure he, like, as he pulls the like bar back out, like the needle bar or tube or whatever, the piercing then goes through, so you don't feel pain of like it going through like a fresh hole kind of thing. So like, yeah, it's kind of like a swap. And I remember it like hanging there whilst he was taking the ball off, not taking the ball off, sorry, whilst he was trying to get the ball in his hand so he could like screw it back on. Because I imagine they are quite fiddly because they are quite small, and obviously he was wearing like surgical gloves, so I can imagine that to actually be quite difficult. But whilst it was like hanging there, I was just sat, I remember being sat like this, like not breathing, not moving, and I must have gone white, because I go white when I get like panicked with needles and stuff because I don't like them. And I remember him asking me like, are you okay, love, do you need to lie down? And I was like, no, just finish. Like I remember just wanting him to finish, and that wasn't because it was hurting, it was because it felt so bizarre, and because I thought it was like, I'm still not 100% sure to this day because I had my eyes shut the whole time. I'm not 100% sure what was like hanging, but I assume it was a needle, and I feel like that was making me feel quite wheezy because obviously I was just sat there thinking there's this needle, and I don't like needles at all, so the thought of it like being sat there was a bit like, oh god, just get it out. But then when the hoop was through, he was struggling to get the ball on the end, so he was having to like maneuver it a little bit to get it on, and then obviously he got it on. But that was a little bit uncomfortable, but not painful. But for the most part, I feel like the whole piercing was done, I would say, within a minute, maybe a minute and a half. It really didn't take that long. The longest part for me was him putting the ball on, because he kept losing grip of it, and obviously he didn't want to drop it on the floor, so he had to take his time. But yeah, that was like the longest part, was putting the ball on the end of it. So yeah, the actual piercing didn't hurt me, but I know it is going to vary from person to person. So if you're worried about the pain, I wouldn't be too worried, because like I said, the piercing's literally done within a minute. And I know it can sound like a long time when you just sat there, but the actual piercing pain part is literally over within like a second. And then after that second, there's no pain. So even if it was really painful, it would only hurt you for, I would say, max 5 seconds. So if you're worried about the pain, I wouldn't be worried. And if it's pierced in the right spot, in the sweet spot, it really shouldn't hurt that much anyway, from what I learned from my research. So if that's what you're worried about, don't be worried. So that's basically everything about my septum piercing. And now I just wanted to quickly touch up on like pros and cons of having it. So I'm going to start off with the cons and then move on to the positives. So cons of having this piercing is probably the fact that people are constantly like saying stuff like, you look like a ball, why would you do that to yourself, you'd look so much better if you didn't have that piercing. And it can just get annoying. Like, I just kind of brush it off, like, I'm not really bothered, like, why are you talking to me, you're irrelevant, I don't really care. So for the most part, it doesn't bother me, but it's just, it can get annoying, people constantly like throwing stuff at you all the time. Like, I don't really care, it's not your face, why are you even talking to me? So that's a big con, I would say. And the only other thing that really bothers me about having this piercing is it never really sits like central. Like right now I feel like it's quite sat in the right place, but obviously throughout the day it turns, like, because I play with it a lot as well, like I'll constantly be like moving it, touching it. I used to do this a lot, which I know probably looks bizarre, but I just kind of push it up my lips. I don't know why. I feel like everyone does that though. I feel like if there's people that have this piercing, just let me know if you did this as well, because I'm a weirdo, so maybe not. But yeah, I used to play with it a lot, so it moved all the time, and I wish it just kind of sat still and like behaved, you know. But yeah, I feel like they're the only cons I can think of right now. Yeah, I think that's it. I can't really think of anything else. But then for pros, I like this piercing because if I decided one day that I didn't want the piercing there, I wouldn't have to take it out. I could literally flip it up, and I really, really like that, because then it's like I still have the piercing if I want it, but I can hide it, no one will know it's there. You literally cannot see it unless I was to like tip my head back, you'd be able to see it. But yeah, I feel like that's a massive pro. And also, if you decided that no, I do not like this piercing, I'm taking it out, if you took it out, no one would ever see a scar because it's in your nose. You would never see it. So if I decided later on in life, like, no, I don't want this piercing, I could take it out, no one would ever know I had it because the scar is hidden. Love that for me. I like that it's so easy to hide, like with jobs and things. If they're a bit picky on piercings, then I could hide it again, they would never know it was there. And I just feel like it looks super cute. Like, I really like it. I think it looks really nice. I feel like it really suits my face. I really like it. I feel like it's a massive pro. I feel like this piercing is one of my like favourite things I ever had done. I prefer this to my belly button, and that's mostly because my belly button piercing no one ever sees. No one ever sees it. I never even see it. So I see this all the time. It's always on show. I really like it, and it's like a piercing that's worth the money, do you know, because it's like always on show, like earrings and stuff you see all the time. So you can go and buy like pretty earrings and stuff like that. They're always on show, everyone can see them. I just realised that my earrings aren't even in. But yeah, it's the same with this. Like, I always see it, it's always on show, it's a piercing that you always see. So I feel like it's really worth the money. I really, really like it, and I really don't regret having it. So I feel like I touched up on everything there. I don't feel like there's anything else that I want to mention. Obviously, if you guys have any further questions that you want to ask me, feel free to leave them in the comments or DM me on Twitter or Instagram. feel free. All my socials are linked down below in the description anyway. If you wanted to get a hold of me and ask any questions, that's fine. I really don't mind, you can ask me whatever. But yeah, I hope this video was helpful for you if you're thinking about getting a septum piercing. And if you're not thinking about getting a septum piercing, I hope you enjoyed the video nonetheless. But yeah, I'm going to jump off now because I've actually got to go to work. But I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I shall see you all later. Bye! Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe.